This video is on the technical analysis of NASDAQ100, which is also known as USTech. And at this point in time, we find ourselves on the weekly chart. And just to recap, the last time we spoke, we had mentioned that the anticipation was for price to head up to around this level, which is the very important level that we spoke about currently, and is also a resistance level, as we had multiple rejections at that level. And we had mentioned that at this point over here is where we may potentially get a reversal of sorts, right? Another thing that I had also mentioned is that as much as we had this huge double structure on the smaller time frames, perhaps on the daily chart, we had mentioned that we have another smaller double structure over here which has a neckline at that point, right? So from here, I'm just going to head down to the daily chart and let's see what's happening on the daily chart. And here we are on the daily chart, right? The first thing that I'm going to do on the daily chart is to add my daily channel, and I'm going to add it more or less in this manner. Just bear with me. Just bear with me, everybody. There we go, more or less. There we go, 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 there we go. Right. So remember, I had also spoken about how we have this huge double structure over here, which had a neckline more or less at that point. We saw price at the end breaking to the upside of that neckline and continuing forward, right, or upwards. And as much as we have that bigger double structure, we have another overextended double structure over here, which similarly has a neckline at that point more or less, and we saw the market coming down to the neckline to test it, and at that point is where we saw price move further up. So I'm just going to add a neckline for this smaller double structure because it's actually now a very strong level of support at this point in time, and it may happen that in the future price may actually head down to this level to test that level again, right? I'm just going to make it a bluish color, just bear with me. Let's see, let's make it a blue. There we go. Right, so what else do we see, guys, in regards to the daily chart of Nasdaq 100? Remember, at this point in time, if I can just zoom out a bit, we have price at a very strong level of resistance at this point over here, more or less, right? And I just also want to emphasize that support and resistance are not lines, right? They're areas. So in other words, we could say that this whole area over here, if I can just mark it, this whole area over here actually is a very strong level of resistance, right? This entire area over here is a very strong level of resistance. And I know that some people see or perceive that the resistance area at this point has been broken to the upside, and what they're doing at this point in time is buying, right? However, support and resistance are areas and not so much lines, right? So in my humble opinion, I would say that I would not consider this breakout as an indication that the market is gonna continue moving upwards, right? And I said to you guys that at this level over here is where we may potentially look for those selling opportunities, right? However, in as far as the daily chart goes at this point in time, I don't see any actual selling opportunities. And what we'll do now is head down to the H4 chart. And here we are on the H4 chart. On the H4 chart, I'm just going to fix my channel somewhat. Just bear with me. All right. There we go, there we go, there we go. Right. And let's zoom in and see what else is happening, right? And just to recap, remember on the daily chart, we spoke about how we have this double structure, which had a neckline over there. Price broke to the upside of that neckline, came back to the neckline to test it. And at this point, we saw the market push further up. And then price got to where we have that very strong level of resistance. And I said to you guys that as far as some traders go, they see a breakout to the upside at this point, and they are anticipating that the market is going to continue moving further up, and that's not necessarily the case, right? Anyway, let's see what else is happening in regards to the H4 chart. The first thing that I'm going to do in regards to the H4 chart is just to add my H4 channel as well, and just bear with me while I do so. Let's have a look. H4 channel. Here we go, more or less, right? There goes our H4 channel. And we can also see that in regards to the H4 channel, we are in an upward trajectory or an upward trending market. But what else do we see in regards to the H4 chart that we should be paying attention to? At this point, I don't see much in as far as buying or selling still. And I also want to point out that a lot of people are actually waiting for the market to head back to this level, which they perceive as now a very strong level of support. And at that level is where they would look for potential buying opportunities, as the anticipation is for the market to do something like this, right? However, it is also quite possible that in the next week we may see the market actually come back to this very strong level of support and then head up again to around that top, and at that top we may potentially get a reversal of sorts. I hope you guys can see that, right? We may get a reversal of sorts, but at this point in time, in as far as USTech goes, I don't see any actual buying or selling opportunities, and I believe the best thing to do at this point is to wait for the market to reach this level over here, and then at that level we can evaluate and see what's happening. And as I said, we might see the market actually head up to around this level again, and at that level it may give us a double top, in which case we would be looking for those potential selling opportunities.